What happens when a franchise savior becomes one of your team's biggest question marks? Orioles fans are living that nightmare right now with Adley Rutschman. Here's how a mysterious statistical falloff and two major injuries turned baseball's best young catcher into a near sub-replacement level player, fighting for his starting job. Adley Rutschman grew up in Portland, Oregon, with baseball in his DNA. His grandfather, Ad Rutschman, coached at Linfield College and won 3 national titles in football and another in baseball. His dad, Randy, played college baseball as a catcher at the same school. At Sherwood High School in Oregon, Rutschman was good, but never attracted major attention. The Seattle Mariners took a flyer on him in the 40th round of the 2016 draft, a round that no longer exists today. But with zero guarantee for a prospect pedigree, Rutschman said no thanks. Oregon State assistant coach Nate Bailey had been tracking Adley since he was 5 years old. Bailey coached with his dad at George Fox University and knew the family well. When it came time to recruit the young player, Bailey went all in. He later joked that he told the parents if Adley didn't commit within 2 weeks, he'd burn their house down. They laughed. Bailey said he wasn't joking. Rutschman did indeed commit to Oregon State. Within the next couple of years, everything would change. His freshman year in 2018, he played in 61 games and hit just .234 with 2 homers. Nothing crazy. But the kid had an unbelievable eye at the plate. He walked 27 times, helping him to post a respectable .322 OBP. Oh yeah, and he was also kicking for the Oregon State football team that fall. He averaged 59.5 yards per kickoff with 20 touchbacks in 12 games. His sophomore year would see him break out to new heights on the diamond. He nearly doubled his previous year's average at .408, along with a .505 on base percentage. 9 bombs, 83 RBIs. He set an Oregon State record with 102 hits. And his team ended up winning the 2018 College World Series. Rutschman was named the most outstanding player. He set a College World Series record with 17 hits and drove in 13 runs. Yet somehow his junior year in 2019 was even better. Adley hit .411 this time, with 17 homers and 58 RBIs. He led all of college baseball with 76 walks in just 57 games. That year, he won everything. The Golden Spikes Award, Dick Howser Trophy, Buster Posey Award, Pac-12 Player of the Year. But here's the moment that shows you how truly feared he was. During the 2019 NCAA tournament, an opposing team intentionally walked him, with the bases loaded. They literally gave up a free run just to not let him take the chance of swinging the bat. Barry Bonds treatment. The Baltimore Orioles took him first overall in that year's draft. He became Oregon State's first ever #1 pick, and the first catcher taken that high since Joe Mauer in 2001. And what's more, no one was the least bit surprised. Baltimore, seemingly, had found their franchise cornerstone. Adley crushed it in his short pro debut after the draft, putting up a near 900 OPS in Single A. Then COVID shut down the 2020 minor league season. He, like everyone else that year, spent what would have been a season at the alternate site. He was sent to Double-A Bowie to begin 2021 and proceeded to destroy minor league pitching. In 80 games, he hit .271 with a .392 on base percentage and .508 slugging, 18 bombs, 55 RBIs. The kid was unstoppable. August came and they bumped him up to AAA Norfolk, where he hit .312 in 43 games with 5 more homers. Really? There was nothing left for him to learn down there. And so he was seemingly set to make the 2022 opening day roster, but unfortunately a tricep strain kept him out. He started a rehab assignment in late April, and on May 21st, 2022, Baltimore officially called him up. He debuted that same day against Tampa Bay at Camden Yards. In his first game, he went 1 for 3 with a walk, and his first extra base hit, a triple. On June 15th, he went deep off Toronto's Jose Barrios for his first ever big league homer. From here, he wouldn't really slow down. His rookie year ended with a .254 average, .362 on base percentage, and .445 slugging, 13 homers, 42 RBIs, 35 doubles in 113 games, and a .131 OPS plus and 5.4 BWAR. He finished second in Rookie of the Year voting behind Julio Rodriguez. The Baltimore media voted him Most Valuable Oriole. He was a bona fide star in the making, becoming everything that had been expected of him. If 2022 had introduced Adley to the league, 2023 was his breakthrough. On opening day, he went 5 for 5 with a homer, becoming the first player since 1937 to do so. Through June, he was hitting .273 with .376 on base percentage and .423 slugging. By the All-Star break, he had 12 homers and made his first ever full classic team as a starter. He also managed to participate in the Home Run Derby. In round 1, he crushed 27 bombs before losing to Luis Robert Jr. in a tiebreaker. The whole world got to see his power, and from both sides of the plate. The full 2023 season numbers? Simply stunning. A .277, .374, .435 slash with 20 homers, 80 RBIs, and a ridiculous 154 games played. He even led All-American League catchers with 92 walks. He won his first Silver Slugger Award and made the All-MLB first team at catcher. At 25 years old, people were calling him the best all-around catcher in baseball. His team benefited greatly, making the playoffs for the first time since 2016. Sure, it didn't go how they wanted, getting swept by the Rangers in the ALDS, but still, they had gotten much better than in recent years, with Adley, Gunnar Henderson, Grayson Rodriguez, and a host of other young emerging talent. It seemed like Baltimore was in the process of erecting a dynasty, but for both Rutschman and the Orioles overall, this level of success would be relatively short-lived. 2024 started perfectly. Through 3 months, Rutschman was hitting .294, .350, .471 with 15 homers and 55 RBIs. He made his second straight All-Star team and got voted in as the starting catcher for the American League for the second straight season. At the time, it seemed like nothing could stop him. Then late June happened. Something changed. There wasn't one specific play you can point to, but after June 27th against Texas at Camden Yards, the switch just flipped. Rutschman went from MVP candidate to looking completely lost. Some people think he took a real beating behind the plate in the weeks before. Others pointed to him getting hit by pitches earlier in the month. Maybe his hand was banged up. Perhaps something else. But he never did go on the injured list. He just kept playing through whatever it was. And the numbers fell off a cliff. From June 28th on, Rutschman turned into a completely different player. His last 58 games saw him bat just .207 with a .585 OPS and 3 homers. By year's end, every major stat possible had seen a significant decline from the previous year, and by a wide margin. The wildcard series against Kansas City that October wouldn't bring any change to this narrative. He went just 1 for 8. The Orioles scored 1 run in 2 games and got swept. The second straight year they'd gotten bounced without winning a playoff game. Manager Brandon Hyde got sick of answering questions about Adley's sudden drop-off in production. "I've answered this question a million times," he said after they got eliminated. "I think it's a young player who's dealing with some adversity." GM Mike Elias tried to stay calm. "He's been such a key to our ascent that it's been very frustrating for him, and for us, to see him experience the degree of struggles that he did in the second half, really for the first time since we've had him. But he is an elite competitor, an athlete, and he's our guy." When reporters asked the catcher straight up if he was hurt, he seemingly dodged it. "What I would say is, there are a lot of tiny things that can contribute to you being off just a little bit," he said. He got scratched 1 game in August with back soreness, but was back the next day. In the 3 years since he'd gotten called up with Baltimore, he'd never once officially hit the injured list. The mystery of what happened in late June 2024 has thus far not been solved, but whatever it was, it didn't go away the following year. Adley came to 2025 fired up. "I didn't have to look very hard to find motivation this offseason," he told reporters in spring training. "You're just pissed off for months." He changed his swing a little, starting with his hands further back, along with a smaller leg kick. Tiny adjustments to give him more time on pitches. But it didn't seem to matter. Through his first 37 games, he hit .203 with a .636 OPS, dead last among everyday starting catchers. But it wasn't just the raw numbers that were concerning. His hard hit rate was dropping, his chase rate rising, and all of his expected totals took a subsequent nosedive. Then, his body started breaking down. On May 25th, a foul tip drilled his mask at Fenway Park. He stayed in to catch the 4th, but got pulled in the 5th. A few days later, he was back out there. On June 20th, he got scratched before a Yankees game with left side soreness. A subsequent MRI revealed a left oblique strain. For the first time in his career, he hit the IL. He would proceed to miss the next 5 weeks, but even after coming back, he looked off. In his next 17 games after his return, he hit .227 with just a single homer. Then, in late August, he felt something else during batting practice. 2 days later, he was back on the IL, this time with a right oblique strain. Interim manager Tony Mansolino tried to sound hopeful. "My understanding is that it's low grade. It's very mild," he said. Knowing Adley, he's going to do everything he can to get back and play at some point this year. The season was already effectively over for his squad, with the Birds sitting at 59 and 67, last place in a competitive AL East. They'd put 27 guys on the IL at that point. Rutschman was one of 5 with multiple trips. He did indeed come back before the season ended, in late September. By then, Samuel Basallo was the starting catcher. As Rutschman sat on the IL in August, Baltimore called up their top catching prospect, Basallo, who at 21 years old had just murdered AAA. In 76 games, he hit .270 with a .377 on-base percentage and .589 slug, crushing 23 bombs. He would debut on August 17th, tallying a 2-run single for his first hit. In his 4th contest, he drove in the game winner in the 11th against Boston. 5 days later, the Orioles signed Basallo to an 8-year, $67 million extension. GM Elias tried to play it cool. "From my point of view, the more the merrier when it comes to good players," he said. "We've got a lot of guys here, Samuel included, who are really good athletes that can play multiple positions." Nonetheless, people started talking right away. USA Today's Bob Nightingale wrote that Rutschman would be perhaps the biggest position player on the trade block this winter, and predicted that he'd be wearing another uniform come spring training. It wasn't hard to see why. By year's end, Adley's 2023 seemed like a distant memory. A .220, .307, .366 slash, yielding his first ever sub-league average OPS plus at 90. He failed to crack 30 total extra base hits. His defense declined from elite to simply above average. Just a nightmare season all around. So, how does a guy go from face of the franchise to a question mark in just 2 years? Something happened in late June 2024. That's when it started. Rutschman fell apart right after. To this day, nobody knows exactly what, because, again, he never went on the IL. Then the oblique strains in 2025 made it worse. Your obliques are the muscles on your sides. When you swing, they help you rotate. Strain one, and your whole stance breaks down. Rutschman strained his left side, came back, then strained his right. What does that do to a swing? At this point, it had become clear that he was pressing mentally as well, seeing his chase rate balloon and his walk rate drop. Elias said at one point that Rutschman was naturally tired from catching as well. This makes sense. In 2023 alone, he played in 154 games, 110 of them coming behind the plate. The Athletics' Eno Saras tried to find something good among the rubble. The way I'm thinking about Adley at this point is sometimes we focus too hard on what players can't do. You have to remember, he's a switch-hitting catcher who's actually decent at the plate, even if he's not a star. He's also a good receiver and framer. 2 years ago, people were comparing him to Joe Mauer and Buster Posey. Now the best angle we seem to be able to take is that he's decent at the plate and can still catch. Something about that feels tragic, doesn't it? The projections still think he bounces back. Zips says 270 with 17 homers in 2026. Steamer says 261 with 20. Perhaps that's why his name keeps coming up in trade talks. Multiple insiders besides Nightingale have put his name out there this winter. The idea is Baltimore could sell now while he's still got 2 years left and get some semblance of value in return. The best case if he doesn't get moved, he gets healthy this winter and finds a swing again. Him and Bassiah would probably split time at catcher, DH, and first base when new signing Pete Alonso needs a day off. Worst case, this is who he is now. He becomes a defense-first guy who hits 240 with middling power. At that point, trading him could be tough, at least for anything of note. The true crazy part here is how fast everything happened. From his debut in 2022 to June 2024, Adley was among the best players in the sport. Since then, he's been nothing short of barely replacement level. At this point, all we can do as general baseball fans is hope for some kind of return to form, lest he go down as having one of the more tragic fall-offs in recent MLB history.
Alright everybody, if you made it this far, I appreciate you watching, and if you did, consider checking out any of these other videos on your screen right now for other content just like this. Also, if you ever see anything you'd like to see me detail in the video, feel free to reach out to my email, basebpoet@gmail.com, and if I end up using your idea, I'll give you a shout out. Thanks for watching, have a great rest of your day.